Good to be back this morning. One of the great things about going away is coming home. You were in our thoughts and prayers while we were away, and hope that everyone had a good holiday, and we're certainly off to a great new year. Today is January the 4th, 2009. What have you done this year? We've got great opportunities before us in the Lord's kingdom. Great opportunities as a congregation, great opportunities as God's children. And I hope that you'll look for these opportunities and that you'll plan and prepare as we go into the world, as we go into the workplace, as we go into our schools in the coming days and weeks ahead. This morning I'm going to be talking to parents about children. But just because, young people, you don't have children, one day you likely will. One day you will probably be a parent, just as your parents are now. And the things that we're going to talk about are things of great importance, and I hope that everyone will listen carefully in light of this. You know, one of the greatest things that God has given us upon the earth is children. Now, there are times, like 2 o'clock in the morning, that you question that when they're screaming and won't be quiet. But we realize that overall, this world would not be the same place if it were not for the joy of our children. And one of the things that we anticipate when our children are up at 2 o'clock in the morning screaming is that one day they will grow up and provide grandchildren that you can enjoy, and they're in their own beds with their parents at 2 o'clock. So the process continues generation after generation. But with this great blessing that God has given us of children, there comes a great responsibility. We might ought to back up and say there comes a tremendous responsibility. Because with the giving of children, God places within our hand not only a physical life, but more importantly, He provides a spiritual, eternal soul. Sadly, many people today are bringing children into the world. And you know, young people, it's one thing to bring a child into the world, it's another to be a parent. It's easy to bring a child into the world, to understand the biological process of uniting a male and a female and producing a baby. It is another to be able to bring that child up, to rear it in the Lord. To do so, if you will, successfully. Too many children are being born that don't have parents taking this responsibility seriously. Open your Bible to Judges chapter 13, please. Judges chapter 13, I want to read beginning with verse 2 and read down through the 8th verse. And I want to notice the attitude of a father by the name of Manoah. And I want us to see his attitude and then see if perhaps this is one that we need to imitate today. Judges chapter 13. And I'm going to begin reading with verse 2. And there was a certain man of Zorah, of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah. By the way, as a side note, Manoah was the father of Samson. Manoah and his wife was barren and bare not. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto the woman and said unto her, Behold now, thou art barren and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. Now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son. And no razor shall come on his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite unto God from the womb. And he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. Then the woman came and told her husband, saying, A man of God came unto me, and his countenance of an angel of God, very terrible. But I asked him not whence he was, neither told me his name. But he said unto me, Behold, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and now drink no wine nor strong drink, neither eat any unclean thing, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb to the day of his death. Then Manoah entreated the Lord and said, O Lord, let the man of God which thou didst send, listen carefully, Let the man of God which thou didst send come again unto us, and teach us what we shall do unto the child that shall be born. Manoah, Samson's father, made a very important request or statement here, if you will. He is asking God to send the angel back for one very important reason. Not that he questions what his wife has told him. He understands, no doubt, the Nazirite vow. He understands what she is to do while she is carrying the child. But specifically, he says that he may teach us what we shall do unto the child. I've had parents say, oh, but if we just had a manual, if we just had a book to tell us how to be parents. And I say we do. It's called the Bible. It gives instruction. It tells us how we're to bring up our children, how we're to train him up. We want to bring our children up in the Lord according as God would have us bring them up. Manoah said, tell us what we need to do. Teach us. And I would suggest this morning that as parents, we need to do that. And I would also suggest that not only as parents, but as young people, we need to listen and heed the advice of our parents. I want to give at least 3 reasons as we begin this morning why our children are so important. Primarily with the idea, the understanding of their eternal salvation. Now, as we begin, let's make it clear. This is the most important responsibility that I have as a parent and that you have as a parent. And young people and children, this is the most important responsibility that your parents have you, is looking out for your eternal well-being. First of all, it's important to our children themselves that they be saved. We need to ask ourselves the question, and often when a child is born, we're so excited, we want to count their hands and their fingers on their hands, and we want to see their toes and count them and make sure they're there, and we beam, and we're so proud of how they look physically. They're the most beautiful baby that's ever come into the world. But in reality, we need to stop at that point and ask ourselves the question, what kind of man is he going to grow up to be? What kind of a girl or woman is she going to grow up to be? And this is vastly more important than some of the questions we often ask ourselves. Think about it. Sometimes we say, well, what occupation are they going to be? Are they going to be a teacher, a doctor, a nurse, a dentist? Are they going to be a builder? What will he do? What will she do in their life? But while occupation may be somewhat important, the character of that baby and that adolescent and that child and that teenager is far more important. Where he or she will spend eternity should be the most important question that we ask. Sometimes I hear parents say, oh, but boys will be boys. Well, that's true. Boys will be boys, but boys will also be men one day. And what they learn as boys and what they're allowed to do as boys and our attitude as parents toward their action as boys will well determine the kind of men that they grow up to be. And here again, our young people need to realize, for they sometimes say, well, we're young and we do these things. Yes, but one day you're going to grow up.